All right. So first up, we have Coralie Humbert. Now,
Hi.
Coralie, can you give us a very short introduction about yourself?
My name is Coralie Humbert. I'm a senior at Marian Catholic, and I am the president of the Marian Catholic speech team, as well as one of the head students of the Marian Catholic stage tech department in our theater.
That's awesome. So within Stage Tech, how long have you been, part of that team?
I've been working on stage tech, specifically in costume, since my freshman year. I have costumed every performance Marian has done since my freshman year, starting with the play These Shining Lives. And my final production will be the spring musical this year. We're doing Chicago. And so I'll be costuming Chicago for this year.
I cannot wait. And can you tell us what are the dates for Chicago this year?
They are hang on a second. They're
Sorry to
in
put you on the spot.
they're in late April. They are, I think it's the weekend of the 20th. Hang on a second. Let me pull up a calendar. Yeah, April 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, I think. Doing four shows.
Awesome. That is amazing, and I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much. And next we have Abigail Wozniak. Abigail, would you mind giving yourself a self-introduction?
Hi, my name is Abigail Wozniak. I'm a sophomore at Marian Catholic, and I'm in the fencing team, and I've been fencing since my freshman year, and I also participate in their fine arts program. I'm taking a couple art classes at Marian, and yeah, I really love it.
That's awesome. I know fencing is one of the more rare clubs that high schools has these days, and I'm really glad that we have actually two members of the fencing team here today with us. Now, I guess we'll jump to our other member of our fencing team, Martin. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Martin Leedy. I'm a sophomore. I'm a varsity member on the men's saber team, and I'm also part of the robotics team at Marian.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And how long have you been, interested in fencing?
So I've been interested in fencing, well, kind of since my older brother was in fencing before me. We got like a 5-year gap. So honestly, probably around middle school, like 6th grade or so, I've always been interested in it. I always thought the kind of motion with the blades and just kind of dueling-ish always felt really interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's always something that I've been interested in, but I've never had that opportunity to do so. I'm so glad that Marian has that opportunity for students who are, I believe, who have not had any training participate in these programs as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, a lot of people who join fencing have only started doing it once they got to Marian. There's very few people that come in with prior experience.
Very cool. So I would love to hear more about that in a bit. Next up, we have Josiah Hawkins. Josiah, can you talk a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Josiah Hawkins. I'm a junior at Marian Catholic High School. I'm a member of the marching band and symphonic band at Marian, and I have been since I was a freshman. And I've actually been interested in music since I was in grammar school when I started in 5th grade. So been a long journey.
And Josiah, what instruments do you play?
Oh, I play in percussion, which is drums and things of that nature.
Right. Do you have a main one that you prefer?
During marching band, I play the marching snare drum, and during symphonic band, we sort of switch around a lot. So it's not one set instrument.
Awesome. And next, we have Melissa. Melissa, can you talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Melissa Rodriguez. I'm a sophomore at Marian Catholic, and I'm also in the marching band and the symphonic band. And as well as that, I'm in the women's soccer team and in Generation Green.
That is awesome. You sound, you have a pretty full schedule, Melissa. How do you manage to make sure everything fits?
Well, I'm very glad and thankful that my teachers at Marian Catholic are very cooperative with my schedule. They really allow you to split time between like sports and art activities, and you can really do a lot of things at once that you really want to pursue.
That's wonderful, and I can't wait to hear more about your experience in those in a bit as well. And also, Melissa, what is your instrument?
I'm also in percussion, and I play the drums as well, like Josiah.
Awesome. So before coming to Marion, did you have experience in music?
No, I kind of came in as a beginner, but my band directors at Marion really worked with me, and they don't really care what level you come in. They really cooperate with you, and no matter what level you are at, they'll really work with you to make you better.
That's wonderful, and I think that's something that really is special about Marion, and even with how high performing and how well doing their program is, they really are about supporting anybody who has an interest in pursuing the numerous extracurriculars that are offered. And now we do have Mr. Steve Tortorello, who is the principal of Marion Catholic. Steve, would you mind introducing yourself just a little bit? Let me see if I can.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tim. And good evening to everyone who is watching. As Tim just said, my name is Steve Tortorello. I am honored to serve as the principal here at Marion Catholic. This is my 9th year as principal. So I have been the head of school, so to speak, for nearly a decade, or head of academics for nearly a decade. I'm also a Marion graduate as well. I graduated from Marion Catholic. And while I was here as a student, I participated in athletics and speech and theater and the math team and the student council. And following my time here at Marion, I went on to the University of Notre Dame, where I did my undergraduate work, and then the Alliance for Catholic Education program, where I received my master's in education from Notre Dame. And then after that, the ACE program for leadership, where I received my master's in educational administration. I returned to Marion in 2010 to teach English and social studies, which I did for 4 years before becoming principal in 2014. So I have a great deal of experience here at Marion Catholic and a great understanding for the student experience from each level, whether that's as an incoming young student or as an alumnus visiting or as a teacher or, of course, as an administrator. And to echo what our young lady said a moment ago, it's truly an incredible place where folks are very supportive of how each student learns and grows. So I'm honored to serve in my role and honored to be joining you for this session.
Thank you so much. And now we have everybody here for our panel discussion. Now, so today we mainly want to have everybody talk a little bit about their experiences, not just, as a student, but at Marion, but a student in general. What are some things that they, hope to see in the future? What are some things that they are proud of and they want to share about? So before we do that, I want everybody to get to know each other a little bit more. So because I know while we are very familiar and some of these students are among the same teams and groups as well, it would be great for everybody to get to know each other a little better. So we're going to start with their favorite place to eat in Chicago. So I'm going to go first. If you guys don't mind, my favorite place to eat in Chicago is a little Chinese restaurant on 31st and Halsted called Pot Sticker House, or in Chinese, Dongbei Canguan, I think, Dongbei Fanguan. But that's been my favorite place to eat since I was a kid. And I've loved it since my first time going there in like 2001 or 2002. That's been where I have loved to go almost every other month at least. All right, so I'm going to throw it to one of our students here. How about Martin?
Well, one of the places that I've always loved to eat at when growing up was a place called Taco John's. It's not all that well known. There's a place down in Bourbonnais, and from all the food that I've had, at least like somewhat, it's a Tex-Mex restaurant. And I think they've had some of the best tacos or nachos, or at least Americanized versions of that. And I love their food so much.
That's awesome. That'll be something that I'll have to check out that I have not been there before. You know, I mean, Chicago has such a wealth of food, and especially Tex-Mex and just Mexican in general food. In Chicago, I think everybody has their favorite taco place to go to. Everybody has their favorite, you know, a place that they want to order for some late night grub. All right, Martin, do you want to choose somebody next?
Let's go with Abigail.
I think my favorite place to eat is Joyi. It's a little like Japanese restaurant in Chinatown, and they serve like all kinds of like, you know, noodles and fried rice, and it's a little boba shop too. And yeah, I went there the first time a couple years ago, and they have really cute little murals on the wall of little anime characters, and it's a really cute place, and I recommend it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a +1 for Joy's as well.
Yeah.
That's where I go for my bobas every summer.
Mhm.
You need to go there for some of their bobas. They have some great boba flavors, and their popping bobas are awesome. If you guys haven't tried popping bobas, they have like any kind of popping boba you can imagine, which is essentially just juice in like little pouches that they put in your slushies, which is just amazing. So yeah, everybody check out Joy's if you have the chance in Chinatown. All right, Abigail, who's next?
Coralie.
I'm one of the students who lives in Indiana, so I don't go to Chicago very much. But my favorite place, like around Marion, is the Chili's in Homewood. We go there for like all of our cast parties after the first opening show, and it's always so fun. We get to like hang out, eat. It's Tex-Mex food also. Eat Tex-Mex food and just like have a good time. So it's not in Chicago, but it's near Marion. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, Chili's is a great place to hang out with friends, and they, you know, they have food that you expect, and it's a great place to relax for sure. Corley, who do we have next?
Let's say Josiah.
My favorite place to eat is Portillo's, not as exotic as the other options, but it is my favorite. I've been hooked on the Italian beef ever since. That's what I get every single time. Doesn't get old.
I would have to agree. I mean, you say not exotic, but I think for people outside of Chicago, Portillo's can be a little exotic. I mean, I've taken students there who have never had a beef sandwich before, and it has been a life-changing experience for them. And then for the ones that love shakes, you just, if you want to just, you know, just be in a little bit of a coma, their cake shake is pretty fantastic as well. Yeah, so anybody who hasn't been to Chicago, we're pretty famous for our beefs, and Portillo's is definitely one of the fan favorites for their Italian beef sandwiches. For people who don't know, oftentimes they are drenched or dipped in their juice, what the meat is cooked in, and it is fantastic. So anybody who visits Chicago really has to try out Portillo's. And you know, between Al's beef, Portillo's, you know, or even I am forgetting, what is the other famous one that is popping up all over the place? Can somebody remind me that
Bona?
Bona, there we go, Bona beef. There we go. Yeah, we have some good beef in Chicago. Oh, well, it's perfect. Sean, what about you? What is your favorite place in Chicago?
Oh man, you're talking to the fat guy now. I mean, I love to eat, so I would have to go with pretty much almost any of the deep dish pizza places as a treat. Chicago pizza is amazing. If you get too far away from Chicago for too long, it's something that you really miss. So I would go with the deep dish pizza, and other than that, my choices are going to be very unhealthy ones. So.
Absolutely. No, I'm not going to start any pizza debates with everybody here tonight. But you know, of course we have our deep dish pizza, but I want to make sure everybody don't skip on our tavern style and on our thin crust. Chicago has some great thin crust and tavern style as well. Not just the deep dish. I know a deep dish can be a little much for everybody, but I think it's great in moderation. But getting to try out some of these sauces and some of these homemade sausages, I think is something that Chicago does amazingly well. All right, Sean, who do you think we should have next?
I'll throw it over to Steve.
Well, I knew that was coming, and to build on Tim's point, I think the tavern style is incredible, and there's a place not too far from Marion called Aurelio's in Homewood, and there's Aurelio's all over the Chicago area, but the original Aurelio's is in Homewood, and it is an incredible thin style pizza with a sauce that is addictive. It has a sweet marinara sauce on the pizza, and it is a must-have for anyone that comes to Marion or the Chicago area. So I would say Aurelio's Pizza is the place to go.
That's awesome. That's one I'll have to check out. That's not too far from me. That's somewhere I can definitely visit. Thank you so much, Steve. And last but not least, Vince.
Yeah, thanks. I would have to say that for me, Geha's, which is on Armitage, it's a fondue place. And if you're not familiar with the fondue, you get some appetizers, you get some pieces of meat, you get some fruit, and you're putting it in a boiling pot of oil, or at the very end in chocolate. At the very beginning, it's in cheese. So it's a wonderful place. And if fondue's not your thing, I think you can't go wrong almost anywhere in Greektown. You go there, and I don't care. You can go to any single one of those restaurants, and you're going to have an absolutely fabulous meal and a fabulous time.
Oh man, I haven't thought about fondue in a while, and that's something that is quite exciting and that not everybody gets to experience. I think everybody should try that once. And I think, I forgot one more person, Melissa. Melissa, where is your favorite place in Chicago area to eat?
Anywhere in Little Village, which is like a small neighborhood that's like American, Mexican businesses, and anything there really reminds me of my food that I eat back in Mexico when I visit my family, and it's like very nostalgic, and everything there, there's something for everyone.
Absolutely. Do you have one favorite restaurant there, or one favorite, place that you might go by often?
I know a lot of people know about this place. Well, it's like a franchise called La Michoacana, and it basically sells like a lot of ice cream places, and it's like really good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, La Michoacana. You can find them almost everywhere now in the Chicago area, but they definitely started in that Little Village area. But if everybody has the chance, they have any kind of ice cream you can imagine. Their fruit flavors. I think they're chocolate covered bananas. I remember being really good as well. But also any kind of fruit that you can put on some kind of frozen yogurt or whatever. So good, so good.
That reminds me when Melissa talks about a family place. When you talk about ice cream out in Chicago Heights, it's Zarlingo's for us. They're also graduates of Marion Catholic, a big time Marion family. But you're not going anywhere in Chicago Heights if you don't stop over at Zarlingo's.
Zarlingo's, okay, that's another one for my list. I feel like we have quite a lot of places for almost everybody visiting Chicago and the South Chicago area to visit. So I'm going to be compiling these and sending these to some of our viewers here today. So hopefully when you guys visit, you'll have some fun and yummy places to visit. Okay, now speaking of, what we all love and what we all have done, Chicago and just the city has so much to offer in what we can do as students and what we have as, as teachers. What are some ways or some places in Chicago that you think has been really meaningful to you as a person, or has somewhere that you feel like you connected to? Anybody can answer this question.
I would like to say that one of the places that a lot of people I know and I think is a really common place for people to go is the Orland Park area. It's a really popular hangout spot because they have a mall, they have Barnes and Noble's bookstores, they have like Kohl's, they have a bunch of different places to eat and all this. So it's a really popular kind of hangout spot for everyone to do something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what a lot of the suburbs here really do have to offer. They give that kind of feel of, having that the big city, the stores and what you actually need, but being in quite a safe location as well. Now, with some of our faculty and students here today, can you talk a little bit about how you feel how Marian has addressed safety and how you feel as a student or as a faculty on campus?
I can jump in
Yep.
there. So I think Marian has an incredibly safe environment. That's something we actually ask students and staff about, how do they feel safe on campus. Not only do we have a security team on campus to keep us safe, folks might hear sometimes about issues or problems at school, and we've always never had any of those issues at Marian, as some schools in America have had, because we have a team that works with us to keep us safe on campus. We have there are retired or off-duty police officers who are there to make sure that nobody who is an intruder or any way, shape, or form gets onto campus. And the nice thing about Marian too is we have such a large and beautiful campus. We sit on about 90 acres. And so we are a very safe, secluded school where everything is, you've got space to walk around, space to explore, and you're not in any dangerous areas or places. And I think that's true for the city as well. I know sometimes folks have a negative opinion of a big city. They think, oh my gosh, there might be crime in a big city or things that are scary. And while there's certainly some areas in the big city of Chicago that might be, you might not want to go to, the vast majority of the big city is incredibly safe. I actually live in the city, and I think it's an incredibly safe, welcoming place. And I think any visitor would find that as well.
Definitely, and I would echo that. Growing up on the near south side, I grew up right next to Comiskey, where the White Sox are. I moved to the McKinley Park area. I've lived in the south suburbs in Oak Lawn before I finally actually just settled down in Blue Island, which is just about 20-25 minutes north of where Marian is. And the location where I found and where Marian is as well is just such a beautiful place. And I believe the campus it has quite the scenery there as well. Is that right, Vince?
Oh yeah, as Steve mentioned, the campus is big. It is something right now that, and for those that are from Generation Green, they'll understand this a little bit more. We're also getting into a program right now where we're going to start taking a look at and classifying trees, because one of the things we've recently done is we've formulated a partnership with Morton Arboretum. And as a result of that, and this is probably going to be news to our students, but one of the things we're taking a look at now is becoming a recognized arboretum. We'll probably be one of just a couple high schools in the world that will actually receive that recognition. So our students, our Generation Green, is going to start doing that just to start classifying our trees, so we can get that submitted. And Morton Arboretum is going to be coming out to our property in just a couple weeks here, and we're going to be planting about 15 different trees. And they've agreed to come out for the next couple of years and continue to do that program for us and bring some more trees out. So we're also talking about the diversity of just what we see in the way of trees and wildlife around campus. The other thing too, with regards to the safety thing that Mr. Tortorello brought up, I think the other important thing is right now our safety detail is led by a Mr. Fione. And I don't know, if you're a student at Marian Catholic, you know Mr. Fione, because he personally greets all the students every morning as they come walking in the door. And that's one of the things I think that also separates Marian Catholic, is when you have the person who's in charge of security, of our safety, out there personally shaking hands and saying hi to our students every morning. That says a lot about Mr. Fione personally, but also about the community that we're trying to develop and foster at Marian Catholic.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vince. And I completely agree. Just walking down the halls of Marian, I've never seen such a, welcoming faces on these students, and really just being able to and willing to interact with others. I know a lot of times there's some high schoolers who, are just wanting to hide or try to get away from anything and everything possible, but seeing these faces and seeing these students so willing to be involved in different kinds of groups and different kinds of projects, it's really heartening to see there is a great next generation of civic leaders that we have here. Now we do have a senior here with us today. Coralie, would you mind talking a little bit about your own experience and why you decided to come to Marian?
I've had a lot of experience with Marian even before my 4 years. My father works at Marian. He's a math teacher at Marian. And so when I was little, I knew I was going to Marian. And so I had a very individual experience of getting to know the halls and the teachers. Like the teachers knew me before I even went there. So I have a very positive experience with Marian, but I went and I shadowed a person that I knew who was going to Marian. So I got to sit in on all of the classes, and they were very rigorous classes that I really enjoyed. And as an honor student or a quote unquote gifted student, I really enjoyed the fact that all of the students in the classes were at the same level of interest in education that I was. And there were so many AP and honors classes offered. There are classes that are rigorous in math, English, science, and social studies, along with art programs that you can do as much or as little art as you want to. It's very good at well-rounding students. So you can come out thinking you'll only get education in math and science, and you'll get a very well-rounded education. And it's also a very nice, small, but still beautiful campus that I really enjoy. One of the big selling points for me was the fact that we get ducklings every year in the courtyards, and they're adorable.
That is awesome. I think Marian has, is it 4 courtyards, 5 courtyards? Quite a few courtyards.
Yeah, we have on campus, we have a total of 7 courtyards actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, 7 courtyards. And one I believe is reserved specifically for the seniors. So I think, Coralie, you've been able to at least enjoy that this year, right?
Yes. During the warmer months, the seniors have the privilege to eat outside. We have a courtyard where there's tables, and you can go outside and you can eat outside. So when it's not raining or snowing, I especially love to go outside and eat with my friends, because it's you get to enjoy how nice it is outside, because most of the time you're stuck inside at school. So it's a very nice experience.
Thank you so much. I completely agree. Having that opportunity to be outside and get that fresh air is great, and especially having that courtyard. So essentially, if you go to Marian, you'll be able to see almost every classroom has windows that is directly towards a courtyard that really lets that light in and really makes that the space not so confining. You'll see a lot of classrooms where really it's windowless, so you won't have that at Marian. And of course, you do have some of the more traditional parts of the building, but then you also have, I believe, a pretty state-of-the-art new gymnasium and center as well that was built in the last couple of years too. So what about some of our other students here as well? Would you guys mind talking a little bit about, what made you interested in coming to Marian to study? How about we have Abigail?
So I was always attracted to Marian because my older sister graduated from Marian. She's 6 years older than me, and she just graduated from college this year. But when she went to Marian, she had one of the best experiences ever there. She was it prepared me so well for college and all of her career options and college classes. She loved all the teachers. She would, hang out with them during her lunch period, and just really the teachers were really friendly, and they still are. But I think, after getting to go there for a shadow day and see all of what Marian had to offer, I was I don't really want to go anywhere else. I feel like Marian's for me. And it's not the biggest school. It's actually more on the smaller side, but I feel like that's part of what makes Marian a family. It's a very close-knit community, and that's actually something I really appreciate there. Is, a lot of people just know a lot of other people, and you'll say hi to everyone in the halls, and the teachers will say hi to you outside the classrooms. And it's overall just a really friendly community, and I couldn't be happier.
Thank you so much for talking about that experience. I think quite a few of the students are, have older or younger siblings that were interested, or, that have parents that also attended Marian as well. And that's just because they really enjoyed their time. And I think you'll hear that from almost everybody here. They've loved their experience, and they want to come back, and they want to keep introducing as many people as they want to the wonderful time that they had. What about Josiah?
So for me, my sister graduated from Marian in 2019. She was actually part of the theater department as well. But what got me interested was the band. And when we would go to the football games, when my sister went here, I would be it would always catch my attention how the band plays so well, and how they would all be together, and how amazing they were. And this was even before I knew about all of their, of course I found out eventually about all of their accolades, which also was a selling point. But just seeing how uniform they were with each other, and seeing how well they played together, that really caught my eye and caught my attention. So I knew well before 8th grade that I was going to Marian.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody gets the chance to see that the Marian band perform live, it's definitely worth it. And to see them almost, I think, every Saturday, you'll be able to see those students on those fields practicing, rehearsing. And if the weather is bad, I'm sure you guys move into the gym. There are so many dedicated students in these activities, and they really put in the effort to succeed. What about you, Melissa?
I wanted to come, well, I didn't know anyone at Marian before, or I didn't have anyone that came to Marian before. I really wanted to go because I heard really good things about the school, their academic program, and especially the band, which is why I joined. And I didn't know anyone at first, but everyone was immediately friendly with me when I first came in. And I made a lot of new friends despite not knowing anyone previously. And they were all really welcoming, and they were like treated me like family, or like I belonged there.
Yeah, so I know you talked a little bit about being a part of the band and the other teams as well. Can you talk a little bit about managing your your time between doing all your homework assignments, going to your games, and then having to do the performances, and then also being in the Generation Green as well?
Yeah, well, I'm really thankful that my band directors let me split time between sports. They could say, oh, you can come to band practice this time and then go to soccer this time. And they all work together, the coaches and the band directors. And we can just split time and make everything work. And then you also have to work on managing, like doing your homework and stuff. But I wouldn't say it's impossible. I feel like if you're dedicated, you can really do it.
Definitely, I completely agree. I mean, I remember being a part of different kinds of ensembles, being a part of, chess, being a part of different robotics programs. But, music was my love in high school, and that's the thing that I did the most. So I definitely remember, spending hours and hours and hours of practicing, and really, being able to communicate with your peers and really learning together is such an amazing experience. Now, one more question for our two band students. What do you think is the hardest part about being part of the band?
I'll take this one. The hardest part about being in the band is, which is also part of which is also sort of the best thing, is the dedication part and the practicing. Sometimes practice can be fun, and other times it can not be fun. Just like anything, it has its ups and downs, but it's very, especially during the fall, it's very rigorous activity. It also takes physical toll on your body, just like, if you play sport, it takes physical toll on your body as well. So there's that part too, you're tired, you have homework, you're going home at 9 o'clock after 5:30, 8:30 rehearsal and your body is sore, you want to go to sleep, but you know, have English paper to turn in tomorrow, you know? But I think that's the hardest part about being in the band, but it's also what makes it feel a little bit rewarding in the end. You feel like you balanced everything, or at least you tried your best to balance everything in the end. And you feel proud of what you did sometimes at the end, you know?
Absolutely. And I think that's what really prepares students at Marian for the actual rigor for what it takes in college. And, you know, a lot of high school students who transitioned into college don't have that experience or are not used to being able to work on hours on end on something that is really strenuous, not just for on your mind, but physically as well. And that's just what, you know, the experience at Marian, being able to work with students who are interested in the same things as you are and really build that camaraderie, but also build that know-how and being able to really persevere and make it happen in the end. So yeah, definitely hats off to both Melissa and Josiah in the band, as well as all of our other students who compete in quite the multitude of things. And then of course, Martin, what about you? I know you have you said you had an older sibling who was at Marian as well, who did fencing.
Yeah.
What other things, you know, makes the Marian experience special for you?
So for me personally, I think the Marian experience is meeting all these people who most of the time actually have a lot of things in common with you that you probably wouldn't even think of. And sometimes you learn a lot of new things that you'd never expect to learn and find some really interesting things that maybe you've never heard of, but because someone you're now friends with used to do it a lot, is like, hey, maybe I should try this out. This might be really cool. And sometimes you just decide, yeah, I want to keep doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about having a supportive community. You really have other people to lean on and really, you know, have people to introduce you to new things. And that's, I'm so happy that you guys do have that network here. And, you know, Steve, you know, having been a student here and, you know, been a teacher here as well, what has changed at Marian here? What, hearing these student experiences, what has been, you know, constant, what has been something that you've been proud of that has been improved?
That's a great question. So I think the constant is the academic excellence of the student experience. That was true in my time. I'm sure it was true in Mr. Kredinsky's time, a little bit before me, and I know it's true now. So I think the academic excellence is there. The caring character of the school, the fact that it's a welcoming place where people feel like they have a second home, that has been true throughout the generations. I think what has changed is that now we offer a variety of different programs that we couldn't have dreamed of when I was a student. So we heard about fencing a moment ago. The band has been here for a long time, but new things like our robotics club or our engineering classes or Generation Green, which was alluded to a few moments ago, that's a relatively recent addition to the Marian Catholic catalog of clubs and activities. So I think what has changed is that we're now offering more clubs and activities and unique ways to learn that meet the moment of where we are as a society right now. So the academics have always been strong, the community has always been strong, but the different activities have grown and changed over the years. And I think that's a great thing.
Definitely. And I think I heard, is there going to be a large installation of solar panels coming to Marian soon?
Yes, there is. So we've just completed a deal where over the summer we're going to be installing solar panels. Again, part of we're sponsored by the Dominican Sisters, and one of the things we are taking a look at is how do we, you know, make sure we're taking care of God's creation here, and part of that is what are we doing in the way of conserving energy whenever we can. And so we're going to be installing a solar array panel, which will be on the roof of Marian Catholic. And it's going to really take care of about 65% of our energy needs, maybe even more. And at the same time, we're going through the school and we're replacing our outdated lighting fixtures with updated LED lights, which consume less electricity. And again, part of it is just being fiscally responsible, you know, to the school and helping our budget, and the other part is being environmentally responsible as well. So that's something that will be coming in this summer, and hopefully will be completed by the time everyone returns to school in the fall.
That'll be awesome, and it'll be a great addition to the school. And I know that the greenhouse hopefully will be up and running again this summer as well. So it'll be a lot of great programs that we'll be having here in Marion, and a really great experience for the students to be able to enjoy. Now, I know we've spoken a little bit about the different kinds of clubs and activities, but Sean, would you mind talking a little bit more about the academic aspects of what these students have to go through and what kind of the opportunities that are available for students?
Yeah, so our programs are very, as they've said, as so many people have alluded to, very rigorous programs throughout our school. So all of our students take 4 years of English, 4 years of theology, 3 years of science, 3 years of social studies, a requirement of 2 years of language, but so many of our students take 3 or 4 years of language. There's so the math classes, at least 3 years there, all the way through AP calculus, multiple levels of AP calculus. So we go through very high levels of education, but we, like I said before, whatever the students want to focus on, because unfortunately they can't do everything. Some of them want to do everything, and then we just can't get there. But the students, like I said, they'll go through as high as AP calculus, AP chemistry, and physics. English, like I said, the languages we offer Spanish, Mandarin, and Latin. Social studies has multiple AP classes available. And one of the moves we're making right now is we're looking at a little bit of a shift. If our teachers are available to do this, if they're meet the college requirements, we're shifting towards a dual credit. So it might be AP, it might be dual credit, but either way, the students are going to have that opportunity to have college credit walking out of Marian Catholic before they even get there. And the numbers, I'm already hearing inklings that the amount of money our seniors earn for college scholarships is astounding. Like, it is just astounding. And I think the number I've heard recently is for the current senior class is somewhere in the neighborhood of $14 million earned as a class of about 200 students. And that number will go up between now and graduation. So our college counselors, I think that's one thing nobody's mentioned yet. And I think our college counselors are just amazing. They meet with the parents, they meet with the students before senior year, during senior year, and they make sure those students are on the right track for where they need to go. Because every student's different. Might be a student going to the University of Illinois, might be a student going to University of Notre Dame, might be a student that wants more of an arts, that aren't going to go to school like that. And they're going to help put them in the right place. So it's a great part to finish off their education after all that rigorous work they do.
Definitely. And I think that's why so many Marian students end up going to these amazing institutions. I mean, in the state of Illinois, Marian has one of the highest percentages of students ending up at Ivy institutions. So, I mean, it just speaks to how well the school prepares the students for success, but also, you know, what their college counselors are doing to really help the students along the way, even, you know, before their senior year as well. Now, I know we're running a little bit low on time today, so if I could just have one last question our students could answer here for us today. So what are your future goals, and how do you think the faculty and staff at Marian can support you in those goals? So if Coralie, you wouldn't mind answering that question first?
So like Mr. Scanlon talked about with the college counselor, since I'm a senior, future goals, I'm going to be attending DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana. And I actually got into that school with the highest scholarship. They offer the presidential scholarship, which is $40,000 per year. So it was only because of the like rigorous classes at Marian and the immense amount of help that the college counselors gave me that I was able to do this. And I'm going to be studying English at this university before I go on to law school afterwards. And so those are my goals, and they've already helped me so much, but just the continued rigor. Right now I'm working on my research paper, something that I will need, especially in college as an English major and a future law student. And all of the help that I get through all of my classes are going to be so helpful for me in my college future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And congratulations, of course. DePaul is a wonderful school, and I can't wait to see, you know, what the future has planned for you. I'm sure you'll be doing some great things, Coralie. What about I believe we have a junior among us, Mr. Hawkins?
My future goals right now, the plan might change, but I plan to go to school for either music or audio engineering to flip major minor. Still deciding on that. But schools I'm considering, I haven't decided just yet. I'm considering Northwestern U of I and the SAE Institute, which is an audio engineering school, in no particular order. But like it's been mentioned, the meeting with the college counselors is really the main thing that Marian does that sets you up for success, because that's your key to get the scholarships. That's your key to even get, they send out emails periodically about college tours and college visits and things of that nature, college fairs in the area. So that's one thing that they do really well that prepares you for that next level.
Definitely. And, you know, those programs that you mentioned are fantastic. I mean, I'm a little, as somebody who went to U of I might be a little biased as to which one I think you should go to. But definitely amazing programs, and you'll definitely, you know, have fun at any of those schools. So a little bit more about, you know, what do you think at Marian prepared you for what you hope to do in the future?
I would say a lot of it is the workload management and the discipline that it requires for you to do well at the school, especially if you're planning on doing extracurriculars. It's a lot to, at first, especially as a freshman, it might seem a lot to take on. But once you get the groove of it, once you figure out, okay, at this time I'm going to do this, okay, and now I have time to do this, and also planning your free time with your friends and clubs and things of that nature. That is something that that kicks you into gear of how to manage your time and how to plan out your things well, which is a life skill, not just something you can use in high school.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you so much, Asai, for talking about that. And especially, you know, what kind of experiences really helped you really build that kind of perseverance. All right. And then how about Melissa?
So my plans after high school, I plan on continuing to do band in college, but also attending a 4-year college and then eventually going into dental school.
Oh, wow. Dental school. That's awesome. So was that something that you've always been interested in, or something that, you know, recently that you've discovered?
Oh, well, recently, like a lot of the stuff we're learning in chemistry class really interests me. And I really love all the classes that I'm taking at Marian. It lets me learn a lot about new things that I wouldn't have known before. And I'm really interested in dentistry and becoming like an orthodontist.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. And of course, that is quite a lot of schooling that you have set up for yourself, but I'm sure that you have the perseverance and dedication necessary to really go for it. So yeah, that's going to be so cool. Thank you so much, Melissa. And what about Martin?
So my current career goal is to try and become a mechanical engineer. And that kind of was inspired by mostly my dad's work because he works with his company to make like machinery and robotics. And I've been to his workplace a few times, and the things that they do there is astonishing. And I really wish to do something kind of like that. And the place, the colleges that I'm kind of seeking out are big up there in engineering, like
Mhm.
U of I, Purdue, MIT, hopefully.
Yeah, those are some fantastic programs. I mean, going to U of I, I've had a lot of friends who went through their engineering programs in mechanical and electrical engineering. So it's always, great to hear students who have that interest. And, Marion has such a great program in, offering engineering and engineering technology and different workshop classes, and especially the robotics program too, which you're a part of, right, Martin?
Yeah, that
Yes.
is very fun.
Yeah. So, do you guys compete in any of the competitions in the area?
So the big one that the robotics competition really depends upon is the Southworks Robotics, and that is like the end all be all, and it's really competitive, especially the sumo, and not as much so, but the Pathfinder is also pretty competitive too.
Yeah. So, I know that you guys did quite well last year. Did you guys
Mhm.
place?
We got second place in sumo with our adorable robot that we named Fred.
Well, that's awesome. Well, congratulations, Fred. And I think is Fred going to make a comeback this year as well?
Fred is going to compete this year, along with his new little buddy.
Oh, well, we'll be looking forward to seeing that as well, because I will definitely be there. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for all of our students who are here today. Now, I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. So if anybody has any questions, please submit them into the chat. I believe the chat is enabled for everybody. So if you have any questions, please submit them in English or in Chinese. That would be fine. I know a lot of our students and parents here today have family or other members who are interested in the various different extracurriculars and teams that Marion has to offer. Yes. So how to allocate time. I think a lot of students have covered this a little bit, but I don't know if anybody wants to speak a little bit more about this, but it seems like it really is a process for everybody. It can be difficult, especially in the very beginning, managing all the different kinds of classes and the extracurriculars. But I think Josiah said, having other students there who are also very supportive, who are also in similar things with you, really do give that community and that sense of belonging where you can really help each other when you are learning these kind of processes. I don't know if anybody else wants to add a little bit here.
I think it is important to note that Marian Catholic as a community, the students really participate quite a bit. You've heard from all of our students here. They're not only just involved in one activity, they're involved in multiple activities. And that's very common that you're going to see at Marian Catholic, is that the kids are really very, very involved, which is great because the teachers get that, the other coaches get that. We've heard, the fact that there's collaboration between various clubs and coaches, and it works out really, really well. So we encourage anybody who's thinking about coming to Marian Catholic, jump in with both feet and make sure you get involved.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vince. And yeah, I completely agree. Getting involved is just one of the most important things, and getting your foot forward. It definitely helps. We have another question from a parent. I guess this is more geared towards our faculty. What is the importance of academic ability if we are not prepared to engage in scientific research in the future? I think they mean that, what if maybe research is not something that they want to pursue in the future, why is it important to actually go through all of this rigorous education?
I can jump in and answer that. I think as having a rigorous academic background in high school prepares you for a number of ways to be successful in college or in work or beyond. So even if you don't intend to go into scientific research after high school, the skills that you learn at Marian Catholic prepare you for whatever you do afterwards. Skills like a moment ago we mentioned, time management, organization. In the classes as well, it's skills like how to formulate an argument, how to present your ideas, how to hear and learn other ideas and summarize them and engage with them. And again, in the sciences, how to conduct research. All of our students will take at least biology as a lab science, and then most will take chemistry and physics as well. And even if you are not going into science in the future, the skills that you develop in working with lab partners, creating lab reports, using that iterative design of trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, those processes are all very important. And I think the flip side as well, for those who are interested in going into research after Marian Catholic, you will be exposed to a great deal of that in your career at Marian. Again, whether it's lab science research, or as somebody alluded to earlier, in your English classes, our students will, as a junior and a senior, they will do 2 college level research papers to prepare them for college. So as Coralie alluded to, in being a future English major and law student, that writing and researching of literature and ideas is very important as well. So regardless of whether you seek to explore research after Marian Catholic, or you'll do something where that's not used at all, the skills you will develop at Marian will be incredibly useful for you going forward.
And I think just to add to that, also, well, when you talk about those skills, also the ability to communicate, with other people, and can communicate in a stressful situation or a stress-filled situation, because that's true whether you're going on to college or you're in work or whatever. You're going to be in those situations where you really need to, as Mr. Tortorello said, you need to be able to put your thoughts together and be able to give something back to when someone's coming at you. You need to be able to reason that out and think on your feet and move forward and come to a resolution. So that ability to communicate effectively is also very, very important. And I don't think you get that same level, you don't develop that skill or hone that skill if you're going to something that's less rigorous.
Absolutely. And I think that even ties into what the next question is, what the difference is between high school in the US and high school in China when you're applying for university. Even just really basically, you're not going to have that same level of communication skills and that same level of rigor in what we're talking about, the types of classes and how instruction is looked at and what it means to really conduct research. And more so that you are also involved in different kinds of extracurricular activities and programs that can be verified by American schools. I think that has been something a lot of our international students haven't been, taken really care of when they're thinking about applications. Is colleges nowadays are looking more and more closely at your application and what you are doing overall, and having programs and being able to, go to school in the US and having the programs here really does benefit you when you are applying.
And I think also, we heard it from our students here this evening, also the rigor pushes people out of their comfort zone and really stretches them and forces them in a lot of ways to grow. And that becomes very, very important. Also, just to say, try different things. So we talk about within the school a lot, the ability to fail safely. So try something, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. You know what? It's high school. Let's figure it out and let's get on. Because once you get to college and university, it's a whole different ballgame. Do what you're going to do. Make your mistakes at the high school level. Let's figure it out. but really, really push yourself and test yourself. It's a great proving ground.
And I think to build on that point from Vince and from Tim's point a moment ago, if you're for the person asking the question, if you're talking about applying to university in the United States, what American universities are looking for, in addition to your raw skills, your raw mathematical skills, your raw scientific skills, are what we here in America call soft skills. So it's time management, the ability to work with a team, the ability to take criticism and use that criticism to grow, the ability to communicate, as we mentioned a moment ago, both in personal conversations and presenting in front of a class or a group. All of these skills that are outside the bounds of raw academic skill, they're all skills that colleges and universities are looking for. And in a place like Marion, those get developed in the classes, they get developed in the activities, they get developed in the community period. And that's something that American universities are really looking for. So I think that is another difference as well. All of those other skills that are outside of the pure academic talents.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you so much, Vince, for adding to that. Yes, I completely agree. And those are just things that Marion and I'm sure the students have talked about and can share about more. Is that wonderful experience that they've had here. I have one more question about what kind of summer camps are beneficial for your college applications. So I don't know about any, let's hear from one of our high schoolers. Have you guys participated in any summer camps or summer programs that you think are going to be beneficial for what you want to do in the future?
I will say that Marion has this is for 8th graders who are applying, but there's a program for the summer school program at Marion that if you score like right below like the cutoff line for getting into Marion on the entrance exam, you can take a summer school class to get in and to prove that you deserve to be there. And I have aided for the English program for that, and either that program to prove that you should be at Marion teaches you skills that students that are going to Marion, even if they got a higher score on the entrance exam, they don't have those skills for annotating or the math or the time management that you learn. And you also can use it as an opportunity to work with the teachers if you are to aid. It's a paid job, paid part-time job that I've done for the past 2 years and will do again this year. And it really has helped me with like English and reading other people's papers and understanding how to edit and critique. So from both sides, it's very helpful.
Definitely. I think Corley brings up a great point in student teaching. And I think that's something that a lot of the student orgs really utilize. And that's teaching the students, what is important in part of the curriculum. How do we, communicate our points across? And those kind of skills can really be used in a lot of different aspects, no matter if you want to be a teacher, but just in communicating with others, working with others in a team. And I think, those teaching opportunities are just so wonderful. And also for any of us students are interested this summer, Marion will be having a STEAM summer camp. So for international students who are interested, Marion will be hosting a wonderful program this summer in July. So if anybody is interested, they can contact us. I will be showing our contact information very, very soon. So we are running a little bit out of time. Oh, yes, Sean.
I was just going to say, I talked about our college counselors before. They are also, our whole guidance team, especially at this time of the year, is pushing out a lot of information about summer programs students can go attend, whether they're at universities, whether they're at something like the Museum of Science and Industry that's right in Chicago. There are a lot of those opportunities out there, and students are offered those that they can apply to and go to, and colleges do look very positively on those experiences. So I think that's important. to know that those opportunities are there. And if they want to work in the area, we've developed a connection with, we're surrounded by country clubs around us, great golf courses, where they've even held the US Open, and we do caddy programs, and students they go work as caddies, where they can even earn something as great as the Evans Scholarship that pays for all of their college. So a lot of opportunities to connect with business people, connect with universities, like I said, museums. Those opportunities are definitely there.
Yeah, definitely one of the benefits that Marion has, the location and being right next to world-class golf ranges, and really, having that connection, but also the opportunities for students to caddy is something that not every high school really offers. And it's not just the earning money aspect, but it's meeting the people. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that caddying isn't just about carrying clubs. It's about learning about the whole process. It's about managing what you're doing as well, and it's quite a learning experience for anybody who is interested. And I do believe we have a couple of parents who have students who are actually on the golf team at their current schools. So yes, we thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight, and especially thank our students and faculty who have taken their time this evening to really, share about their experience at Marion, but also, what it means to really be a student here and live in the city and experience, what the school has to offer. Vince and Steve, is there anything else that you would like to add before we end tonight?
I'll just say thank you to everyone for joining us. It's really exciting to get to share and talk about Marion and help folks learn about it from all around the world. And we're really hoping that for those of you who are listening now or might be listening in the future, that you consider coming to Marion for some of the programs that we talked about, summer programs, or long-term as a student to join us here at Marion Catholic. It's really a wonderful place. And I think if you come and visit and see it, you will experience that and see it for yourselves. So thank you all for joining us, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing you one day on our campus.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Tim, again, I would thank everyone for coming in and tuning in, and also a special thank you to our students. And if you ever wonder what Marion Catholic is all about, take a look at these young people who it's 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night, and they're giving their time to be with here to talk about Marion Catholic. If that doesn't tell you something about these people themselves and about their love of the school, I don't know what else could possibly say that. Then they've given up a Friday night to be here with us. So thank you very much, all of you, for sacrificing your time to do this.
Absolutely. It was great to hear from everybody's experiences, and I'm very, very glad to have met everybody here, and I can't wait to see the wonderful things that these students do in the future. And for all of our parents and teachers listening here today, please contact us, please join us, but you can scan our WeChat code there to join our group about Marion Catholic, as well as to ask us any questions about our upcoming summer program as well. My name is Tim He, and that is it from me tonight. I'm so happy to have you guys here, and I'm so happy to have this experience with everybody. So last but not least, once again, our students, I hope the best for you all. And I know everybody, it is getting late. So good night to everybody here. And I hope everybody in China has a wonderful rest of the day.